You are listening to the CMC Podcast. Join us each week for messages designed to equip, inspire, and motivate. And now for today's message from Pastor Tim Brooks.
Well, are you ready to receive the word today? I want to welcome all of those, first of all, that are joining us on podcast, and not only local podcast, but literally all over the world, people are joining us on podcast. And we are excited to continue to announce to our podcast listeners, we've got the equipment in place now, and we're getting close to ready to video podcast, where not only can you hear our sermons, but you can see our service and join us as well. Our equipment is here. We just have to learn how to do it all. So that's what we're doing right now, is we're practicing and getting where we're ready to do this. Ephesians chapter 5, verse 1, it says, imitate God in everything you do because you are His dear children. Wow. Imitate God. That's all you got to do. That means that you're supposed to talk like God, think like God, and act like God. Now, when I wrote that down several weeks ago, talk like God, think like God, act like God, and I started staring at that on my pad, I went, wow, that looks like to me to be a 3-part series. So if you'll remember, for those that didn't sleep completely through it, the last time I spoke, I preached on talk like God. So anybody got an idea what the title of the message is today? For those here that are slow, and in every crowd you have those slow ones, those that just don't get the joke when it's said, but later on they'll figure it out. For those that are slow here today, the title of today's message is Think Like God. Think like God. Now when we say you got to be like God, you swallowing. That's a little bit overwhelming. Well, as we've been talking about this year, don't get overwhelmed, don't run backwards, and don't, the first thing you say, oh, nobody can be like God. I mean, just don't even say that. I mean, the saying is, how do you eat an elephant? Well, just one little bite at a time. And what we are doing is, let's just start with one area of our life that we can work on and get that one area more and more like God. And that's what we're doing. Just don't get overwhelmed and, oh, nobody can do that. Well, hold on. What can we do? What part of that can we start working on? And I talked about the area of our mouth. We are learning to talk like God. We talked about the fact that mankind is the only thing on earth that is created in God's image. There's no other thing on earth that has the vocabulary that mankind has. We're created in God's image, and God's words have creative power. God said, let there be light, and there was light. Now we're created in that image. Our words have creative power. God did not say, well, darkness is everywhere. There ain't no light. I don't guess there'll ever be any light. Well, I wish there was some light, but it's dark. That's not what He said. He said, light be. He spoke light into existence with His words. And you and I are created in that image. Your words create. I asked for you to do a little experiment. I said, for those men who are sitting out here today and they don't believe what I'm saying, they don't believe that. I don't believe. I ask our men to go home and do just a little experiment. I ask you to come home from work. When you and your wife come in from work, you go in and sit in your chair and you say, get me some supper on the table, woman, and see what is created. If you don't believe words create, you say that and then watch what happens. If you have any teeth left, if either one of your eyes you can still see out of a little slit in the bottom of them, you have a pie pan impression across your forehead. What I'm telling you is words create. And you are creating all of the time. You're creating anger or you're creating joy. You are creating a smile on people's face, or you're creating an anger in their heart. What do you create with the words that you speak? What do you create with the words you speak? Your words have creative power. Now, we talked all about this, and I want to ask today, how are you doing? Are you paying attention to your words? Are you doing, I tell you, this is terrible. We're not going to make it. I'm about to catch the flu. I always do. Flu will probably turn into pneumonia. Yeah, I'm probably going to die. I mean, I feel horrible. My head's killing me. I tell you, it's killing me. How are you doing with your words? Your words are creating your life. What are you saying with your words? What's coming out of your mouth? And I'm asking, how are you doing in this? Today, I want to look at our thoughts. I want to look at our thoughts. And the Bible says renew our mind. Ephesians says to wash our minds. Romans tells us to transform our minds. There's absolutely no possible way for me to adequately communicate to you how vitally important it is that you get a hold of your thinking. There's no way for me to tell you how important that is. When I read Proverbs 23:7, as a man thinketh, so is he. As a man thinketh, so is he. It's very clear. You are a result of what you've been thinking. As you think, so you are. Write down Proverbs 23:7. As a man thinketh, so is he. At this point, I could close in prayer because that's all I have to say. And we could all go home. But as preachers do, they talk like I'm going to for 2 more hours about what you already got. I mean, that's what we do. You came to church with the intention of taking a nap, being bored, daydreaming, and I don't want to disappoint you. So for the next couple hours, I want to say that one sentence. As you think, so you're going to be. That's the way it is. Successful people think successful thoughts. Depressed people think depressed thoughts. Lonely people think lonely thoughts. Happy people think happy thoughts. Sad people think sad thoughts. Now, I've got some great news for you today. Life wants you to think that you are trapped by your circumstances. You are trapped by the situation that you are in, and it's out of your control. What I'm telling you today is your life can change when you change your thinking. When you change your thoughts, you will change your life. And here's a news flash for you. You have 100% control of your mind. You have 100% control of what you think. It is a part of your body and we control. Don't tell the policeman when he pulls you over for speeding, it wasn't you, it was your right foot. That's not going to work. That wasn't me, my right foot just kept, it wasn't me, my mind just kept on and my mind just kept on. See, you got control of it, you just have not taken control of it. So here, let me give you a speeding ticket. You have control of it. My right foot, it just kept on pushing down on that pedal. No, you got control of it. Now, you may not be taking control of it, but you got control of your mind. Now, you walk around a corner. I don't know why Olivia and Eli, this is their favorite game, but their favorite game is to scare each other. And they practice this all the time. Now, I don't know why that's fun, but when you walk around a corner and somebody jumps out of the dark and goes, boo, you're going to think a scared thought. That's what's going to happen. You can't not think a scared thought. When you see a lump or you see a bump on you, you're going to think, I have cancer. You're going to think that. That's what you think. You can't not think that. You think that. What I'm talking to you about is the fact you can't keep birds from flying over your head, but you can keep them from building a nest in your hair and taking up residence there. You're going to don't get all bummed out. You're going to have a bad thought. You're going to have a scared thought. You're going to have a fearful thought. You're going to have a bad thought. Bad thoughts will come. Where you mess up is you let that thought just stay there. And you keep on, and you keep on, and you keep on, and you go over it, and then you go over it, and you keep on. You've got to stop that thought, and you have to you have to consciously think about another thought. I had a MRI. Has anybody ever been put down in that tube and told not to move? Now I'm telling you, this tube goes around you And they measure the width of your shoulders and they cut off 2 inches. And they measure how tall it is from your nose to the top and they minus about 1 inch and they slide you in that tube and she says, don't move. I got in that tube and I thought to myself, if I don't quickly begin to think of something else, I'm going to tear this thing plumb slap. They won't have enough parts of this to put in a sack when I get done. I'm having to come apart now. You don't slide me in no tube and I just don't move for about 20 minutes. Quickly in my mind, there was 3 of us. We'd hauled horses, went to Colorado. Quickly, I was unloading horses. We saddled them up. We started up this mountain. We rode straight up this mountain for about 2 hours. We got up to the top of this mountain and broke over that on our horse. And I could see more than the whole world from that point. You could see forever. And we rode down this ridge, and as far as you could see, it was the most awesome sight I had ever seen. And I was reliving riding my horse down the top of that mountain where I could see a bazillion miles and not think about how close that tube was to my nose. I had to get control of my mind or I was going to tear that thing up. See, there are times in your day you're going to have to get control of your mind because what you're thinking right now is going to produce. Are you getting this? What I'm thinking right now is going to produce something that'll get me fired, that'll get me divorced, that'll get me in a fight, that'll get me in jail. What I'm thinking right now is going to get me on the front page of the newspaper. And I think a lot of thoughts that would get me there. And it's never been a good one. That's where this thought is going to end up. Pastor, I'm practicing holding on to the 2 bars, looking out at the side. I'm practicing, pastor, jailed. This thought can't continue right here. Because I feel my fist start going up like, hold on. I'm going to have to think about something else right now. What I want to talk to you about is seeing what that thought will produce if you keep thinking it. See, don't wake up and find yourself fired or broke or in jail, or don't wake up and find yourself there. But right now, you think to yourself, if I keep thinking about this hurtful situation, this painful situation, this emotional situation, and we all have them. We all have some very painful, hurtful, difficult things that have happened to us. Now, if I keep thinking, he said this, and when he said that, and I should have said this, and you go over what you should have said and what you ought to, and if I ever get him in the room by myself, here's what you. Now, if you keep thinking about the hurt, the pain, if you continue, what will that produce? It won't be joy. It won't be happiness. It won't be peace in your life. You've got to think like God. You got to start thinking like God. You have a life inside your head. We call it self-talk. And it's producing the life that you are living outside. Now, we all have heard what low self-esteem is and what high self-esteem is. We all understand that. Low self-esteem. Over here is a group of people that I know, and they are in a house, and they've got pizza, and they've got Cokes and Dr. Peppers and cheese dip, and they're all gathered, and they're all playing cards and playing dominoes, and so I want to go to the party. But see, I have low self-esteem, and so I stand out in the yard, and well, I want to go, but they don't want me in there. Nobody likes me, nobody wants me there. So I go up to the door and I knock on the door, and nobody answered. Well, you didn't knock hard enough for anybody to hear, but see, they don't want me there. So finally, somebody went to the door to open it to let a little fresh air in, and there I was standing there. And, oh, God, I know y'all don't want me here. Come on in, Tim. See, he doesn't want me. The reason he said come on in is because he hates me. And he feels bad about hating me, so he said, come on in. And okay, now I'm in, and I wish I was not in here. And hey, Kate, we got pizza. You want some pizza? They know I don't like pizza. I really do, but they think I don't. That's why they offered me pizza. And no, I'm good. I'll just stand right here, y'all. I'll just stand right here. It doesn't matter what they say. Nobody likes me. I don't fit in. They didn't want me. See, you have a life inside your head, and it doesn't matter what anybody says to you. You can't get out of what you're thinking. Here's the guy with high self-esteem. Here's the party going on over here. They got some pizza, and they got some Dr. Pepper and some cheese dip, and nobody asked you, but they don't need to because they wanted you there. They wouldn't have it without you because you're the life of the party. So you don't knock because you never knock in any door. You know everybody wants you to come in. And so you walk in and a guy turns around and goes, "How did you hear we were having a party? We didn't want you. I love you guys. Y'all are the greatest." See, then you look over here. "Hey, get out of the chair. Go get me some pizza. I'll play your hand. I can do it better than you. I'll get you ahead in this game. Get me something to eat." And you sit down. "Oh, man, I can't believe you heard about this party. Y'all are my best friends." It don't matter what anybody says to you. Your life is lived in your head. And if you don't get control of your thinking, you will never have any peace, never have any joy. You will never have any happiness because you will always see yourself in a negative light. The Bible doesn't see you broke and poor and defeated. See, God doesn't see you as depressed, as lonely, and sick, and unhappy, and unwanted. What I'm telling you today is you got to think like God thinks about you. Colossians 3:15, "And let the peace that comes from God rule in your hearts." You're not letting any peace rule in your life because you continue to relive in your head what somebody did or said or acted. And true enough, what they did to you was horrible. What happened to you, I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. I hate it for you. But you are reliving and replaying and going over, and why did this have to happen, and whose fault was it? If I could get my hands on it, if I had it, you're continuing to play that in your head. There's no peace for you. There's no joy for you. I was a psychology major in college, and I enjoyed watching the world try to figure out what God created. And they, in the 50s, they came up with what they entitled self-fulfilled prophecy. In the 1950s, that was a big deal. 50s, 60s, 70s, teaching people about self-fulfilled prophecy. And they were all excited about that. And I thought, well, about 3,500 years ago, God wrote, "As a man thinketh, so is he." You're just about 3,500 years late on coming up with that. You're not the one that invented that. God created us to operate like this. The way you think is the way you're going to be. Now, there are 4 places, and only 4 places, that thoughts originate. There are only 4 places that thoughts originate. 1 is the devil. 2, thoughts come from other people. 3, thoughts come from just yourself, your natural instincts. And number 4, thoughts come from the Spirit of God. I want to talk about very quickly those 4. Number 1, the devil. The Bible teaches us there is a devil out there, and he puts thoughts in our mind. Well, Tim, I don't believe in the devil. Okay, have you ever said anything you didn't want to say? Clearly. Have you ever done anything that you didn't want to do and you wish you hadn't done? There's a devil out there. There is a devil that is putting thoughts into your head all the time. There is a devil. I mean, you just laying in bed trying to go to sleep, and here comes this thought. And here comes this thought. Boy, he eats his spinach and gets overactive when I lay down. I mean, here he comes. You know, I've been sitting in my chair by myself. Just sitting in my chair by myself reading a magazine, and here he comes in my head. And all of a sudden, my face is red. All of a sudden, my veins in my neck are poking out. All of a sudden, I want to go whoop somebody. I mean, the devil will just come in and take over your thoughts. There's a devil. He puts thoughts in your head, and you got to recognize that thought is the devil. You're going to have to recognize, hold on, that thought is the devil, and in the name of Jesus, devil, you got to go somewhere else. Get behind me, Satan. I'm not. See, you recognize that thought is from the devil, and if I keep thinking that thought, I'm going to do something that I'm going to regret, that I'm going to wish I hadn't done. That thought came directly from the devil. Now, you kick him out of your life, you run him away from your head, you get him out of your life. Number 2, other people. Other people put thoughts in your head. You're just here at work, and a coworker's bad day has you in a bad mood in a few minutes. Somebody else's lack of sleep, after they come in and they're moaning and groaning and complaining, first thing you know, I'm mad. Their personal problems get on me. You watch this. You're having a relatively good day, and a family member, your teenager comes in. Teenagers are masters at wrecking your day. They come in, and what they dump on you, let me be fair. Teenagers' dads wrote the book on ruining your day. They come home from work, and what they chew on you and dump on, you take on other people's attitudes. You take on other people's offenses. As a matter of fact, David, you preached on taking on others' offenses several years ago. You ought to preach that again. That's one of the few things you've ever done good. But that was a great message. You give credit where credit's due. He did something good. And he ought to, you need to preach that again real soon, because that's a problem. You take on somebody else's offense. Now you're mad at the school, you're mad at the other kid, you're mad at your not because of anything that happened to you, but what he said to somebody else, and I'm going to go get up. This don't have nothing to do with you, big boy. But we just take on other people's offenses, and now we're in trouble. You got to watch out taking on other people's thoughts. I'm just going to tell you, I can't help it. I am affected by other people. I just am. That's why I'm not going to be around people who the glass is half empty. I'm not going to. I'm going to spend as little time with them as possible. You're going to find me with somebody who the glass is half full. I'm not going, well, we can't do that, you can't do this, you can't do that, can't go there. The economy's bad, the president's bad. I'm out. Because I'm not going to listen to that. You're going to have to tell me, oh yeah, it'd be easy to do. No problem, let's do it. Let's do it right now. I'm going to hang around people who are putting positive in me because I begin to take on what they're thinking. I'm just telling you, you take on other people's thinking, you got to watch out. The third place that thoughts come from is yourself. The Bible talks a lot about yourself, and it talks about the carnal nature, the sin nature, the flesh, the Adamic nature. Those are titles that the Bible gives to just yourself. You're driving down the road having a good day, and you look over and there is a girl in tight blue jeans, and first thing you know, your mind is where it didn't need to be. Your own lust will get you. Your lust will get you. One bowl was enough and I'm full, but I believe I'll have me 2 more bowls. Just your flesh is going to drive you to doing something you shouldn't have done. We're going to overdo, we're going to overeat, we're going to be, my thoughts, my own thoughts. I don't need any help from the devil. I can destroy myself pretty good on myself. I don't need the devil helping me make people mad. I'm pretty good at making people mad myself. Your own Adamic nature, you got to watch out. Your headache, your backache, you didn't get any sleep last night, your schedule, your stress load, first thing you know, you got everybody in the office mad. You got to watch out. I'm telling you, I don't really ever take my blood sugar levels. I don't poke my finger and read that. I know it. I've studied this thing. I know, I can feel it, and I know when I better get me a cracker to eat. I know my blood sugar. Let me tell you something. Your blood sugar level will have you saying stuff you shouldn't have said. Your high cholesterol, your blood pressure, I don't know what it is you're dealing with, but you got to watch out, because what is going on inside you is producing thoughts. Just yourself will come up that was the wrong words to say at that time. You got to watch yourself. What I'm encouraging you to do is think about that thought and ask yourself, if I continue to think this thought, is that going to get me where I want to be? If I keep thinking this thought, I'm going to end up mad. This thought will produce hate. This thought will produce revenge. This thought will get me fired. If I keep thinking these thoughts, I will end up being divorced. If I keep thinking these thoughts, you see what that thought produces in your life, and then you take that thought captive. 2 Corinthians 10:5. Take every thought captive to the obedience of Christ. That means you need to think like God. I'm not going to think that about my wife. I can't think that about my wife. If I keep thinking that about my wife, it's not going to produce a feeling of love in my heart for her. I can't keep thinking that about her. I'm going to have to start thinking this about her. I can't think that about money or my health. If I keep thinking that about my health, it's not going to end up well for me. I can't think that about my future. You see what that thought is producing, and you take that thought captive and you start thinking like God. 4 places that thoughts originate. Number 1, the devil. Number 2, others. And number 3, yourself. Number 4, the Spirit of God. Romans 6, Romans 7, Romans 8. Read those 3 chapters. It's all about thinking after yourself or thinking after the Spirit. It's all about thinking after the old man, the flesh, or thinking after the Spirit of God. Romans is very clear. If you keep thinking after the flesh, it's death. But if you will think after the life, after the Spirit, it is life and peace. The choice of what you think is yours. When the devil or others or yourself puts thoughts in your head, quickly evaluate them. You better turn them off, and you need to start thinking like God. Philippians chapter 4. Philippians chapter 4, verse 8. And now, dear brothers and sisters, one final thing. I always like reading that because I know he's about done. Now, dear brothers and sisters, one final thing. Fix your thoughts on what is true, what is honorable, what is right, what is pure, what is lovely, and admirable. Think about these things that are excellent and worthy of praise. Keep putting into practice all that you've learned and received from me, everything you heard from me and saw me doing, and then the God of peace will be with you. The God of peace will be with you. Think about these things. What does that tell me? That tells me that I have control over what I think. I can think about these things, or I cannot think about these things. If you want peace, and the thing that I'm told more often, Tim, I just want peace. I'm just looking for peace. All I want is peace. I don't want money. I just want peace, Tim. Everybody's looking for peace. That's what you want, is peace. That's what the world is looking for, is peace. Peace doesn't come by a new car. New car's nice. I like to have one. Peace doesn't come by a new house. I'm all for you. Get a new house. That's great. But peace, it won't produce peace. Let me tell you, there's a lot of things that prayer does in your life. A lot of things that prayer does. But prayer won't produce peace. Oh, Tim, just pray for me. I need peace. I can pray for you, but I can't. Peace don't come by prayer. Peace does not come by, other things come by prayer, but peace comes by thinking these things. Now, you got to understand this. There are things a car will produce. It will produce you from getting to point A to point B. A house will produce you not sleeping in the cold. Prayer produces a lot of things in your life. But if you're looking for peace, if today what you need in your life is peace, here's what I want you to know. Peace comes by thinking on these things. Whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is worthy of praise, whatever is a good report, that's what will produce peace in your life. If you want peace, if you want joy, if you want happiness, get control of your mind. What I'm trying to tell you is think like God. Y'all stand. Lord, today we wash our mind, we renew our mind with your word, and Lord, we put our mind on you and we start thinking lovely thoughts, good thoughts, pure thoughts. We think like you. Father, direct and guide us as we mold our life, as we renew our thinking, as we are changed from one degree of glory to the next degree. Lord, today we're committed to imitating you. In Jesus' name, amen.
You have been listening to the CMC podcast. For more information about CMC, our different conferences, Christian school, college internship, resources, and more, go to cmchurch.com.